Chef Steve. How are you?
Thanks for inviting us today. We're so excited to see your kitchen and to find out what you're going to make for us today. And we also know that there's something really, really special that you have for us later on in the episode.
Yes, definitely. We're going to talk about some gardening. It's spring, spring into summer, great time of year. A lot of good things to do.
Chef Dan, tell us what we're going to do today.
Well, today we're going to do a shrimp summer spring roll. It's a little bit of an Asian twist. We like to use all the items from our garden here, which I can go over with you before we start. Okay, we have fresh asparagus, fresh carrot. We have some microgreens. This is Swiss chard. These are radish shoots. We have micro sorrel, and we also have fennel. We have fresh garden chives, cilantro, nasturtium, and nasturtium leaves. We have some oil, salt, and pepper marinated grilled shrimp. We have rice vermicelli, which is made from rice starch and tapioca starch as well. Also, we have the rice papers, which these can be gotten at any Asian market. We have rice wine vinegar. We have fresh ground black pepper, kosher salt. We have sesame oil. We have a unseasoned soy sauce. We have a hot pepper sauce. We have an Asian garlic that we grow here. We also have fresh ginger root. And I believe that's it.
So Dan, we're going to get started filling this up. I can't believe that all of these ingredients are going to go in that little wrapper.
That makes it fun, I think.
Okay.
A lot of interesting stuff here, and what I'll do is I'll cover each one as we go through. I do like to mention a lot of this is a unique product that we do raise here. Mm-hmm. Like for example, we'll start out. This is an Asian tempest garlic that we grow. I like it for this dish because it has a little bit of a spicier finish, if you would. Wow. You could even smell a piece if you like.
Nice.
It's really a nice product.
Lavender color inside.
Yeah, we picked this a couple of weeks ago. Mm. What I'm going to do is smash a few pieces of these out, and we're going to use it in all the things that we meat and toss for this dish.
Okay.
And what I do is I knock both ends off for garlic just for a quick peel. To peel these garlic cloves, what you do is take the side of your knife, I lay it on there and just give it a little tap, enough to break the skin.
Right.
And then what it does is it loosens it from the clove itself, so that you can just grab a piece of it and it'll peel right off. Especially with the fresher the garlic, sometimes the stickier the skin, so that really nice little trick in popping it off.
Wow.
Another trick you can use is hot fryer oil.
Oh,
really fast, and that loosens the skin and then pops it off as well.
That sounds great.
But you can see this fresh garlic has a nice sweet smell to it.
It does.
A little bit of a spicy finish as well.
It does. It does.
All right, Steve, now that we have the Asian tempest garlic prepared, what we're going to prep now is the ginger. And a lot of the marinades that we're going to do for this dish, there's actually a couple of different ones in there, are going to take all of these items, so that's why we're going to do these first. We used to call it GGS, but it's ginger garlic scallion, and it's a predominant thing in almost all of your Asian dishes. Mm-hmm. This is a fresh ginger root. All we did was peel that off. Now we're going to take a box grater, and on the fine side, we're going to go ahead and just grate some fresh ginger and then set that aside.
Mm-hmm. It smells really good.
Yeah, I love the smell of fresh ginger. You can also use pickled ginger in this dish too, mm-hmm. which is really nice.
Fresh ginger is such a great pungent smell. It's also a little bit hot, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
and with that garlic too, it actually gives it a nice little peppery twist to the actual dish that we're doing. What I'll do is I'll sit this aside on the board since we're going to use. I'm going to go back to the garlic just for 1 second to kind of paste it, just so it's quicker for us to go through the process. One little trick that I want to show with the garlic is to puree this. Take the side of your knife again, nice even flat, even pressure, and just come down.
Wow.
Basically that garlic is pureed. Run your knife through 1 or 2 times. And now you have chopped garlic.
Wow, that's so quick.
So simple, easy, not a lot of mess. We'll do a couple of those. Should be enough for our dish.
Yeah, wow, that's
fast and easy.
Super quick.
Wonderful thing to work with. I don't like working with the ones that have the oil already added or the water added. The mm-hmm. product's so much better.
Absolutely.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to use these items in our marinade. So the first thing we'll do is we'll start with our carrot salad. Mm-hmm. I take a fresh carrot, peeled down obviously, once again on our box grater, and we're just going to shred it down in terms of a kind of a fine slaw mix or slaw grate of carrot, if you would.
Okay.
And this adds a lot of body to the dish that we're making. It gives it a little bit of that texture crunch, if you would, mm-hmm. so that not everything is sort of chewy. We'll sit down aside.
Has a sweetness as well, right?
It does. Yes, it does. Definitely a sweetness. And once again, sometimes a little bit of that spiciness as well through a fresh carrot as opposed to a cooked carrot. Next item that we're going to have for our salad is asparagus.
Okay.
And what we'll do is we'll start with the tips. We'll leave them whole just so that's part of our garnish. We'll leave a couple whole there for a nice garnish as well. And then we'll take these and we'll just straighten them down. And what we're going to do is make a nice carrot asparagus slaw for inside of this.
Oh, wow. That looks great. And these carrots are raw, or were they blanched?
These are raw.
Okay.
Raw carrots. And you can also do this.
Or raw carrots, or the carrots are raw, and then the asparagus.
The asparagus was just lightly blanched.
Okay.
Just lightly blanched. Just enough to turn it bright green.
Great.
Really just add to the color. It can be a raw, crunchier product, and it really doesn't affect it. Some people like that. Okay, now for the salad, it's real simple. We're going to add a little bit of kosher salt, a little bit of fresh ground pepper. We're going to take a little bit of that fresh ginger that we had, a little bit of that fresh garlic, same thing. We're going to take a little bit of rice wine vinegar, a couple tablespoons of that. Just a tablespoon or so of sesame oil. We don't need a whole lot of that. That is going to be the finished sauce as well. And then just a couple of drops of soy sauce to allow that to start to marinate. Go ahead and mix that around. And once again, these are all just minor components of the dish we're assembling. So that's one item. A lot of times I like to make this a little ahead of time and let it sit, let the vegetables take in the marinade.
So this is actually going to go inside the wrap?
Inside the wrap, exactly. So we'll set this aside.
Okay.
The next item that we're going to prepare for this is we'll take our shrimp. We'll go ahead and butterfly them down.
Okay.
These shrimp were just lightly oiled, salt, peppered, and then grilled, open grilled. And then we allowed them to chill, which you can also do hot or cold.
Right. Now explain what butterflying is.
Butterflying is basically when you have the whole shrimp together. You just lay it sideways and then take your knife sideways and it basically split it right on its vein.
So you get two shrimp with just one shrimp.
You do. You can make it look that way.
That's a good cost. That's a good cost savings.
Split those. Set that aside. Okay, now we're close to actually making our roll, but what I want to do first is make the dipping sauce that goes with it.
Okay, show us how to do that.
Now for the dipping sauce, very simple. Once again, we're going to take a little bit of ginger. We're going to take our garlic. And for this dish, I like to leave the garlic a little bit coarse because it's nice to see it floating around in the soy dip.
So you have ginger and garlic in here?
We have ginger, garlic, a little bit of fresh ground black pepper, once again. We're going to take a little bit of soy sauce, which is primarily the bulk of it.
Okay.
A touch of hot pepper, and you can use crushed red pepper, cayenne, or any type of hot pepper that you have.
Now, the more you put in, the hotter it's going to be.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And also with the fresh ground black pepper.
Okay.
With the pepper being fresh ground, it can be hot as well.
Sure.
The other item I'm going to grab, these are some fresh chives that come out of our garden.
Okay.
And this is what I'm going to replace on the GGS in terms of the scallion part. I'm just going to use green onion, and you can alternate. It could be leek, it could be onion, it can be any of those families. For our dipping sauce. Get wipe that down.
Wow. Already smells great.
Yeah. And then the finishing touch to that will be sesame oil. And you only need about a tablespoon or so for that. Okay. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and whisk that together.
Okay.
Now, real simple, real easy.
Now, you didn't add any salt to this. Do you think it needs some?
No, I don't, because the sodium content is going to come out of the soy sauce
okay.
for sure.
Okay.
Most of your soy products, teriyaki products, as you know, they have a high sodium content, so
okay.
you're going to get the flavor out of that. What I do with this also is this could be made ahead of time, set aside, so we can set that over there with the actual carrot mix. Okay, Steve, one last thing that we do have to marinate is our vermicelli, our rice vermicelli. Okay. And real simple, I don't like to over-infuse a lot of flavors. We have so many different flavors going to come into this with just fresh vegetables. We just want to highlight the flavor of this with a little bit of salt and pepper. And so it's not so sticky, so it's loose in the bowl, and you can actually roll it in the roll. We're going to add a little bit of sesame oil. Okay. And then we're just going to soften that up, just so it's easy to work with.
And the sesame oil helps to enhance the flavor, so you wouldn't want to use olive oil in this dish, would you?
You wouldn't. No, the sesame oil actually going along with all the other flavors that are imparted is probably the best choice. Okay. It does have a very strong flavor. You know, I don't suggest to use too much, just enough to keep the noodles loose and moving around in the bowl. And then we do have some sesame oil in the other marinade as well. So
great.
Watch on the flavors that you are compounding. Okay. Now for the actual spring roll, what we're going to do is we're going to use just hot water, and it could be simmering. It doesn't have to be rolling, boiling. You are going to be putting your fingers in and out of there. So
Okay.
I always estimate that as long as it's above 190 or so, it works just fine. We have that water there probably about 200. We brought it to a simmer. To make the roll, what we're going to do is we're going to take these rice papers and we're going to actually float them in the hot water. It may take about 20 seconds, 30 seconds on each side. What I do is I spin it. They'll start to curl.
Right.
Pieces will come up, so you don't want it to dry out, and then I give it a flip.
So about 20 seconds, you said?
Yeah, 20, 30 seconds on each side. To play with them, a lot of times what I'll do is when I'm starting out, I'll soak one and see how long till it goes, till it falls apart. That way you know how much time you have to work with.
And you have to do these one at a time. You can't do like 3 or 4 of them at a time.
You actually can.
You can?
You can. You can. And actually what we'll do is we'll lay 2 out now just to go ahead and show.
Okay.
As long as they stay moist, you do not want them to dry back out.
Okay.
A lot of people will lay down like a moist napkin, clean moist napkin or something to work on, and that'll help keep the moisture. That way you can lay them out and do, you know, a higher production level. But this can sit here for a couple of minutes and it'll be fine.
Okay.
I've also even taken them, and if they feel a little bit too stiff once you get to this point, back into the water for a few seconds. And once you've rolled a few of these, you'll get the feel of where it needs to be.
Wow.
Because I believe they also still keep pulling moisture out of the item itself. These are a lot of fun to work with.
Yeah, they're very, very flexible.
And you can see how clear they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Very flexible.
So one thing you want to keep in mind when you are making these, you want to put some of your more ornamental stuff on the bottom, because that's going to be actual top of
You can see right through it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, do these have any flavor to them? Neutral, very neutral?
They're very neutral, I think. And same thing with the noodles. That's why we put a little bit of a salt, pepper, a little bit of sesame oil, just to add some body. I like to add a little flavor or enhance the flavor of what's natural.
Well, the thing that's in Asian cuisine, I think, is a lot of it's textural. It's got to have a lot of texture to it. It doesn't necessarily need to have flavor,
Right.
but it has to have texture.
Right, and they work with those textures quite well.
Yeah.
Yep, it's really interesting. What I really like too is we're getting into all these different little microgreens and things like that, so they impart so much flavor that you don't want to over mask with the sesame oils and the soy sauces and stuff like that. You want to keep it light, keep it fresh. You know? Same thing why I don't do a teriyaki or a soy marinade on the shrimp, because it's already got enough of it in there, plus the dipping sauce to finish. So what we do is, because this is a shrimp roll, we want to kind of highlight the shrimp. So what we're going to do on this roll is we're going to actually lay down 3 of these shrimp, and you can see I'm putting the pink side down, not the inside. And the reason is once we roll this, flip it over, you're going to actually see those shrimp on the top.
Okay. Well, how about we do this? How about let me do one?
Okay.
Can you do one?
Yeah, for
And then we'll do it together.
Yep. And basically, all you're going to do is kind of pick from what we have. We have fennel, sorrel.
So I can pick what I want?
Sure.
Okay.
You can make any roll you want.
Okay.
I'll let you know these ingredients. This is a radish.
Okay.
This is Swiss chard.
Okay. Well, I like the color of the Swiss chard.
That's one of the reasons I use it.
So
very close relative to spinach.
So if I just take the Swiss chard and just put a little bit on the shrimp.
Yep.
And then can I take some of the noodles then?
Exactly.
So I'll take some of the noodles.
Yep.
Is that a good amount?
Yeah, definitely. Probably enough to just cover the shrimp is kind of
okay.
how I
So that's too much. Okay, maybe that's too much.
Yep.
Okay. So maybe just a little bit more.
A little bit more. That also kind of helps keep the shape. You know, when we go into a roll, and we
you want that round, that kind of a round egg roll type of shape.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then we also have that carrot side, the carrot asparagus salad, which is really nice inside of that.
So we have the carrot and asparagus salad.
Right.
All right, and we have the garlic, the nice garlic that was in there.
Exactly.
Okay, and the ginger too, right?
Yes. Okay. Ginger, and then a little rice wine vinegar in there.
All right. So we put that in. It's going to look very colorful.
Definitely. And that's one of the things I shoot for, especially using these fresh, summery, spring onions.
Now, what else can I put in? Or if there's that usually it?
Basically, from here, a little bit of fresh cilantro, and I use whole leaves.
Okay.
That's why I left them in a whole sprig.
So we have some fresh cilantro.
Yep. Some greens.
Smells really good.
And another item that they do use quite a bit in Vietnamese cuisine and Chinese cuisine and things like that.
Okay.
And then one of my favorite items is sorrel, which has a very citrusy flavor, and that's this young green right here.
Oh, wow.
So that you may want to do just a little extra, because that's really a good flavoring part on this.
This looks great. And I would imagine that this is very healthy.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is low fat, I would imagine.
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing that I need to do is I have to move this over the top.
There's actually 2 ways. There's no real wrong way, but you want to capture the sides too.
Okay, so we're gonna.
Yeah, you want, now that you've rolled the top, you want to bring the sides in.
So we'll bring the sides in. So we'll bring the left in, and we'll bring the right in.
Yep.
Okay, and then we want to tighten this up, right?
Exactly. So kind of pinch back.
So really nice and tight.
Yep.
And just roll it all the way until you get to the end.
Exactly.
And then this should stick to it.
Yeah, it will.
Right?
Yep.
So let's take a look.
And say you want to make these ahead of time and hold for service.
Yes.
Once again, 2 linen napkins, damp them with cold water, store them between, and then wrap with plastic. And these will hold for a half a day or so without getting soggy.
So you want a nice tight roll.
Exactly.
Cut something like you would get at a Chinese restaurant for an egg roll.
Exactly right.
But this is not heated.
No,
this is actually
this is a
you're
cold
going to
item.
eat it cold.
Yes, and they could also be sliced down, served with salads. You can, kind of orchestrate any kind of cold item from that.
And I bet when you cut this, it's going to be very colorful because you're going to see all those nice colors in there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to look amazing. Can you show us one over here?
Okay, Steve, what we're going to do on this roll, just a little different twist just to show there's a lot of variables that you can do. A great item to be creative with. We're going to start with a few nasturtium leaves. These are actual nasturtiums. The leaves come from the same plant. They're both edible. We take a shrimp, and we're going to dot in between the 2 leaves. And once again, no right or wrong way in building these.
Sure.
From there, we're going to take a little bit of our carrot asparagus salad that had our fresh ginger garlic marinade.
Right.
We'll go ahead and garnish that. And once again, we're keeping in mind, too, the actual cut open look. So once we do fillet this open, we'll see what the center looks like. We have some Swiss chard microgreens. We also have a little bit of sorrel, which has that citrus flavor. And then for finish and body, we're going to do a little bit of the sesame marinated rice noodle.
Wow, very colorful.
Okay, now for our simple roll, basically what we're going to do is we're going to flip the sides in, kind of lock both ends.
Right.
And you can kind of see the rice paper sticking to itself, so
Sure.
it kind of aids in the roll. We're going to take from back here, and at the same time, we're going to pinch in and pull over. And that sort of just locks all of our ingredients in place so that we can get that final twist.
Right.
So from this point, we just give our little roll to our lip is closed.
Wow, that looks really great.
There's our. Okay, Steve, for a plate presentation on this, real simple. Once again, we're going to take some of the same items that we work with, and we'll highlight those. So we saved a couple of sprigs of asparagus, cilantro, and we'll lay them around. We have some fresh nasturtiums, which we put the leaves in the roll. So we'll build a nice little garnish out of that. You can see they come in different colors.
Right.
Melon color.
Very colorful.
Also yellow color. We also have a chive flower. Once again, our garnish is kind of signifying everything.
And these are edible?
These are all edible. Everything that's on it, I believe in only edible garnishes.
Right.
So really anything that's on the plate should be edible. Our dipping sauce, which, we can be creative with that, and we can do a little,
Splash the plate.
little splash, here and there. Just enough. And this really is a powerful sauce, so you only need a little taste for each one.
Sure.
Now for our roll, what I like to do is kind of slice it on the bias.
Okay.
Which just means giving it a nice little angle cut, if you would. Really sharp knife, go through nice and quick, and you can see all the color that we have
nice.
and the different layers of color that we built.
Yeah, they look really, really good.
And once again, what I like to do is build some height on a plate. So I'll lay one down. I like to let one stand up, and then somehow highlight that garnish as well.
And normally what you do you is one proportion, or do you usually do 2 proportions?
For an appetizer plate, we usually do 1 per person. And generally it's enough. You can see we try to make them as full as we can. A little flour garnish there.
So now you just pretty it up and try to put a little nice color to it.
Exactly.
Dan, what a great dish. This looks fantastic.
Thank you very much.
You always exceed expectations every time we come here to the Purple Iris.
Well, we hope so.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Chef Steve, this is Tracy. Tracy's our head grower at the Purple Iris.
Hi, Steve.
And microgreens is one of our hot things, so she's going to give you a little snapshot of what we got going on down here.
Great.
What we have here are microgreens, which will eventually grow up to be full-size vegetables, but at this time they're only about a week old. This, for instance, is spinach.
Look how small that is.
Yeah.
These are little babies.
They're very young, and plants at this age are very high in protein, so it's a good source of nutrition. So this should keep you going today.
Isn't it true?
Try that out.
Is it true in a lot of cases that these are more nutritious than the older vegetables?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just the abundance you have to have.
There's a stronger taste or stronger flavor to them. But they're small, but they pack a lot of punch. They pack a lot of punch, yeah.
Absolutely. And this, for instance, is radish, which you could try. And it's as strong as the root on a full-grown radish.
Wow.
And they can be used as garnishes or as salad ingredients.
Very flavorful. And you really don't see this anywhere. This is something that chefs have known about for quite a while, but the people that are out there that are just viewing just really don't have a lot of exposure to something like this.
Well, I've been doing it for about 6 years now, and it's just sort of coming into its own now. I think a lot of people are coming to appreciate it.
Very good, very good.
This is also an item, Steve, that can be very expensive because they're very delicate, they're very hard to ship, they're very hard to hold. They can only be a microgreen, let's say, for 2 weeks, and then they go into more of an adult form and get a little more bitter. So there's some time things, and that's one of the advantages that we have, being able to produce everything from seed to plate, whereas we come down here the minute you order it, cut this off, and then that's going to be right on your plate. So this never has any walk-in time, never any cooler time. The flavors are never adulterated, and that's one of the things that we really think is really cool and exciting, you know? Being able to offer the best flavor, the best product that we possibly can.
I hope you enjoyed the recipes that we've done today on the Gourmet's Garden. Don't forget, I'm going to be checking out emails, and I hope that you send me some great success stories, or even some of your failures that you might have, and we can talk about them on the air. Looking forward to seeing you next time.